My name is Tim Moriarty, past president of the Irish American Home from 2008 to 2011. I'm actually second generation. It was my grandparents, my mother's mother and father, who really brought us back to Ireland. My grandfather in 1970, and that started the whole thing, and then coming to the club and getting involved. I started getting involved in the club. My mother was involved, my brother Jim, his wife Margaret, and at the time Jim was chairman of the FESH, so that being a carpenter, you needed somebody to put the floors down. So I got a bunch of other members that are here in the Carpenters Union, and we just come over, put the floors down the night before, and take them up Sunday afternoon. My connection at the time, you know, when I came around the club, like I say, I was 11 years old the first time I went to Ireland with my grandfather, my mother, and the rest of the siblings, and we would go back almost every other year for 5-6 weeks at a time. And actually, the first time I went, I didn't want to come home. I wanted to stay there. How I got involved with everything, you know, the one thing was, you know, helping Jim out, but then also getting to know other members that belong to the Carpenters Union in Hartford with me. So I got the Carpenters Union involved into the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Every year we build a float, and you know, every year it got to the point where if we didn't get a trophy, we'd be mad. And then actually one year we built a float when the Special Olympics was going to be in the United States here. We built a float. It was actually a pitch for the Irish soccer team at the Special Olympics for the parade. And then Rich Chris, being a member over here, you know, got on the board, was a president prior to me, and then me, him, and Tommy O'Donnell took over the festival. I think I did that as chairman over 10 years. Yeah, how I got onto the board, I was warden at the door. That's how I started, and then I moved up to, I think, vice president, and then people asked me to become president and stuff, and I did. And at the time, I was also the president of the Carpenters Union, and I was also the mayor of Rocky Hill, all at the same time. So I knew Robert's rules pretty good. I knew how to run a meeting, and an orderly meeting at that. While I was president, I was actually the first one that did a 4-year term. Prior to that, everybody basically did 2 years and moved on to the board. I did it for 4 years. And the biggest thing, I think, was just to, and it was hard, being 2,000 members, trying to bring a lot of people together and stuff. You know, over the years, there's been a lot of different times when there's been some rough times between groups down here, this and that, and it was just trying to appease everybody. It was at a time of the club when a lot of the people that immigrated here and built the club here were finally at peace to give it to the next generation. Because as we are being Irish, we're very stubborn and we don't like change. But you got to change with the times, because, you know, now that the people that are Irish are, you know, it's, I don't want to say watered down, but it's like, you know, you have your immigrants that come here first, second, third, and now it's way down there, to the point, probably one of the hardest things is when you interview people to become members here, you're at will to believe them, really, you know, whether they're Irish or not. You know, you could make them do the Ancestry.com thing, but I don't know. A lot of the things, because I was involved in so much, being president, chairman of the festival, you know, and then, you know, helping Jimmy with the FESH and everything else. Probably the biggest thing I was proud of was, at the time, one of the members' sons, Mike Connolly's son, was involved with the Irish Heritage Group in New York City, and they came down and they interviewed 6 of the members that were immigrated from Ireland. And they had a thing up in Boston for all the people, so we rented a limo. I brought them all up in a limo. I had my mother with me. And it was a good time. I mean, a lot of laughs in the limo up and back, and that's probably one of the prouder things. And then also one night we went down to New York City to the council's office. It was myself, Maureen Kennedy, Wally Cohn, Dick Emmons, and Stephen Meskel. We went down there, and one of our goals was to try to get a grant for the GAA, but we were like on the 30th floor of the office building with his condo there overlooking New York City. It was pretty neat. And while we were down there meeting with them, and they had talked about how they got in Japan, you know, in South Africa, all over the world, they got GAA clubs starting up. And there's not an Irish person on the team, but they just promoting the sport. No, while I was president, there wasn't any political stuff going on. It was kind of quiet over in Ireland and stuff. You know, it's, you know, in '98 they had that Good Friday Agreement, so things are kind of peaceful. So there really wasn't much stuff going on. You know, here now and then maybe, you know, the ambassador would come over and whatever, this and that, but no, there wasn't much uproar at the time. No, I mean, I just think that, you know, how the club has survived is amazing, because most groups aren't. I don't care whether it's, you know, an Elks Club, a VFW, or any type of ethnic group. I just think it's a nationality that does it. You know, we're lucky we've been here so long. The building's paid for. It was actually my mother's cousin, Danny Kenny, that who was a lawyer, that kind of convinced him to buy the piece of property and come over here out of Hartford, which you can imagine everyone probably was up in arms at that. You know, why are we getting out of Hartford? But it was probably the best thing he ever did. Danny Kenny, he was an attorney. He's the one, I guess, found the piece of property over here, and that's, you know, he did, I guess, all the legal stuff to buy the piece. And I could be wrong, but I thought I was told that this was the first building built on the street when they did this. I guess it was all farmland prior to. You know, both of my parents are Irish, so, you know, I'm 100%. So there was only one way in the house. I mean, the funny part was, you know, my mother was involved here, Jimmy was, then I got involved. My sister Patty, who's a nun with the Sisters of Mercy, she's never been a member, but always been here doing stuff. And then my brother Billy, who's not a member, but who's an electrician, did all the electrician work when we remodeled the upstairs hall. I'm the one that built the bar up there, and I'm pretty proud about that. I don't know what year it was. Richie Chris was the president. Tommy O'Donnell was chairman of the board. And we went to the board. I put together a price. I said I can probably do it for $35,000 in materials. It was all volunteer help. Tommy O'Donnell gave us 30 days to do it, but then he booked a wedding, and we got cut off by a week when we're walking out with the tools as the wedding people are coming into the hall. You know, typical around here. But yeah, I mean, Rich Chris was my boss during the day, and then we'd come over here and spend it till, you know, midnight for 30 straight days. His wife Kathy was here all the time with us, painting, cleaning up, and a bunch of other people. There was about 12 people up there doing it, but we were able to pull it off. And, you know, it's just, you know, like we'd be down here for 10 hours out there busting our butt. We come in, and, you know, I'd have them, everybody be getting free beers, and people would be, come help us. You can have all the free beer you want. You know, this and that. I mean, that's how we pay people around here was, you know, they got a sandwich or they got a beer or whatever. You know, and like I say, up, you know, until right after me, everything here was done on volunteers. Nothing, we very seldom had to pay to have anything done here, which I know it's different now. Things change, and that's how we were able to survive. You know, we always made money because people always did stuff. You know, Mike Foley was a plumber. He'd be down here fixing all kinds of stuff all hours of the night. And then, you know, Joe X, for 20-something years, cleaned this place. We never had to pay anybody to clean it. He'd be here every day, and he'd cut the grass, I think almost into his 90s. He collected all the trash for the festival. You could not help him. He had his own golf cart. He'd be out there in the 30-yard dumpster at 85 years old, stomping it down. He'd cut the grass on that hill. I would freak out every time I see him. I figured he's going to roll the thing over. But Miles McGee and Mike Griffin would come down every day, make sure he ate, bring him food, feed him. Oh yeah.
So nice.
He was, then prior to him was Jim Moriarty. You come down here, you couldn't find nothing. You had everything hidden in the ceiling, shovels and brooms, because people would steal the stuff. But Jim would come down and do that stuff, and it's just, things like that. You hear the stories that when they built this building, there was a few individuals who put their mortgages up to build this place. Whenever we did anything down there, it was fun. I was lucky enough while I was president to have a good group of people around me, and if it wasn't for them, things wouldn't have got done. I mean, not one person is going to do anything by themselves. You have to have good people around you. I've never had a problem people saying, what do you need? Can I help you? With the festival or whatever. And it's just, at the end of the day, it's that good feeling that, you've done something. I was never in it for me. And that's anything I do in life, even with the union now. I'm the president of the Millwrights Union. I was president of the Carpenters Union. Now I'm a business agent. I used to be an instructor for the apprenticeship for 14 years, but it's always about the other people. And there's a lot of good feeling when you help somebody,